Hi there, I'm going to tell you how to burn belly fat fast and easily, okay? Easier than watching your calories, which is pretty much bogus and does not work, and it's very frustrating. I'm going to teach you several things here in this video that will help you burn, not only burn fat fast, but it will cut cravings like crazy. So first, a little bit about what belly fat is and where it comes from, and why it is that there's a link between insulin resistance and belly fat. Okay, so I'm going to teach you about insulin. It's basically all of your hormones are dictating what you want to eat and cravings and where your body is storing fat. Okay, so again, your hormones are dictating fat storage, energy. They're pretty much dictating a lot of things in your body, but let me just start with one very important hormone called insulin. People don't realize it's a hormone sometimes. Some people do, but they don't know what to do about it. Doctors don't necessarily know how to help you with nutrition in order to affect insulin. Have you ever noticed that? They want to put you on glucophage. They want to control the insulin with medication, but it can be easily done. Diabetes can be reversed, type 2 that is, reversed with what you eat. You don't have to necessarily take glucophage. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about insulin. And I've worked with dietitians. I was in the weight loss industry. I saw some of the things that would go on, and I'm here to tell you it's quite frustrating. And I've experienced some medical issues myself, and I'll get into that. But first, back to insulin and why insulin. It's basically a fat storage hormone, and why insulin is dictating it. Well, it's dictating it because we, or maybe even you, if you have belly fat, you are basically activating your insulin. And where there is insulin, there's going to be fat storage. They go hand in hand. So you've got to reduce your insulin, and there are ways that you can do that comfortably. And I'm going to teach you those in this video. But you've got to reduce insulin. I'm going to look at my notes here to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. But basically, it's a hormone. Insulin is a hormone that will prevent you, when it's in the bloodstream, will prevent you from losing weight, especially burning fat. Okay, so just a tiny bit of insulin will cause you, especially if a person is insulin resistant, will actually cause you to be, it's just like almost impossible to lose weight. So if you are in a situation where you feel like that you just cannot lose weight and it's driving you crazy and the doctors aren't helping you, nutritionists sometimes aren't even helping you, it is because they're not telling you to keep your insulin down. And if you're insulin resistant, you could be very close to being diabetic, like on your way to being diabetic if it stays in that zone. Okay, so if you've got belly fat, it's a good sign, and it's stubborn, like it doesn't want to leave. It's a very good sign that you've got too much insulin. So let's just lower that insulin with some of these tips I'm going to teach you, and you will shrink your stomach belly fat and shrink your size overall faster than you'll lose weight, actually. So you'll be happy about that. You can actually lose a size in a week. Yes, you can, by doing these things I'm going to teach you. So how do you reduce insulin so that you can actually burn fat, and especially belly fat? Well, you avoid protein with sugar. You will obviously avoid carbs too, but avoid protein with sugar. So there's this thing called a keto diet, and people I notice some are doing it, and they're getting way too much protein, in my opinion. This is what I know from being in the weight loss industry. Okay, you can't avoid increasing insulin, but you can definitely avoid too much insulin. Okay, so having lean proteins and too much protein spikes insulin. Having carbs spikes insulin, right? And it will, if you are insulin resistant, that insulin will stay in your body up to 48 hours, and you will not lose weight. Okay, so you've got to not have too much protein, but here's what I'm going to suggest you do. Go for fattier proteins and only have about 6 ounces per meal. So write that down, fattier proteins and no more than 6 to 8 ounces per meal. Not per day, per meal. Okay? Avoid restaurants. Avoid protein with sugar. What do I mean by that? When you eat Chinese food, it's loaded with, especially Americanized Chinese food is loaded with sugar. You know that, right? With all the sauces. That's a perfect example of protein and sugar. Those sauces with the sugar is actually increasing your insulin, and it's making it impossible for you to lose weight. So if you're looking at the scale every day while you're cutting calories and it's not moving, most likely you're insulin resistant. It's because you're combining sugar and with your protein. So, and you don't have to avoid lean proteins. Remember what I said, fattier proteins are actually better, and here's why. Let me just tell you this too, that the fat with the protein, okay, steak with some fat on it, go ahead and eat the fat because it's gonna help block insulin. It will help block the insulin or buffer it. Okay, lean proteins actually will activate insulin more than fatty proteins. So if you are looking to if you're always focusing on lean proteins like lean chicken without the skin, if you're using your George Foreman grill and you're getting rid of all that fat, that's not a good thing. That was an 80s thing that they were telling us, and it's false. It's BS. Okay, you need the fat to buffer the insulin. Okay, so, and what's even better is if you were to go for grass-fed beef, grass-fed, that's even better, even eggs. Okay, so excessive amounts of protein, stay away from, and lean proteins while you're trying to keep your insulin down and get this weight off and burn some of this fat in your stomach. Avoid foods that from restaurants that they're just loaded with MSG. MSG should be illegal. Restaurants and packaged food, these companies are putting it on foods because it activates, it makes the food taste better, and it activates your need for more of it because it tastes so good. It activates insulin. It makes you want to eat more. Nobody's winning in that game except the restaurants and the big food companies, okay? There's a reason they're doing it, because puts you in a perpetual state of wanting more and more and more. Okay, so let's talk about stress and belly fat. Cortisol and stress. So stress increases cortisol. And cortisol is not necessarily what causes belly fat, but cortisol activates insulin. So it's like an indirect way so if you can avoid stress, seriously, if you can try to avoid stress and I know that I've heard it before too, if you meditate, you do all that, but if it's not working, try the other things first with the foods and then try to meditate to bring down your stress, okay? So I'm gonna say that again. Stress increases cortisol, sometimes more in some people than others. But stress increases cortisol, which then activates insulin. Does that make sense? So it's not necessarily that cortisol causes fat, but cortisol activates insulin, and then your body, when you have too much insulin in your body and you're insulin resistant, meaning you don't know why, you can't lose belly fat, and this insulin resistance, the inability to burn fat because insulin's in the way, or there's too much insulin in the body, it will definitely cause even more stress, more cortisol, right? It's stressful when you're frustrated and stuff. Okay, so here's the thing. People with insulin resistance or too much insulin in their blood, and they're unable to lose weight, and that scale is stuck. It's a very for real thing. It's not just your imagination. Okay, so if doctors or specialists that don't understand insulin and this hormone, and they're telling you just cut back, watch lean meats, or watch your fatty foods, wrong. You need more fat. Now it needs to be good fat, right? But you need more fat to feel satiated and satisfied. And then you need to cut out the carbs. And I'm here to tell you, one of the best ways to do that is take some of my tips and start incorporating them, but also try intermittent fasting. intermittent fasting, research has proven over and over, fasting in general is fantastic. I did a 7-day fast. You don't have to ever do a 7-day fast. That's not what I'm telling you to do, but I'm just here to tell you that you fast for even 12 hours or 24 hours and you're gonna feel the difference. And what will happen, and I'm gonna do another video on intermittent fasting and what it does, but and I did a 3-day fast and I've done a 7-day fast, and I've seen and felt the differences, how it detoxified, how it cut inflammation like crazy in my joints. Like, I mean, it was just, I felt phenomenal. So there's definitely something to intermittent fasting. So if you can do, or fasting in general, but if you can do intermittent fasting, I'm here to tell you, it's a painless thing to do, and you will get serious results, and you will activate fat burning as well. You got to give your body a chance to burn the fat without, eating constantly, and keeping the insulin in your body. So get that insulin down. So if you can start out with a 12-hour fast, you're going to be sleeping 8-9 hours of it, right? Try a 12-hour fast and then work up to 14 and 16 hours. And if you can do that, incorporate just 1, 2, or 3 meals a day. I do 2 meals a day. Sometimes I do 1, and I do a 16 to 18 hour fast, and you will burn fat like crazy. So break up your meals, okay? So the window that you're eating in, so let's say you do a 12-hour fast, the window that you're eating in, make that eating window, give yourself 2 meals within that eating window, or 3. I feel better when I just have 1 meal, okay? Here are some symptoms. I want to share some symptoms because you might not know if you're insulin resistant, but some symptoms to indicate that you are insulin resistant is that you've tried losing weight and you feel like, first of all, you notice more of the weight in your stomach and maybe never had that before. Okay, so like if you're in your 40s and you suddenly have belly fat and you never really experienced that before and it doesn't seem to want to move, even after you do a lot of sit-ups and you're confused, you are very likely insulin resistant. So just try some of these steps. It is totally reversible. If you seem to notice that when you have carbs, you feel happy afterwards, if you notice that you feel happier after eating carbs, this is an indication that you're insulin resistant. It's affecting your moods, okay? If you feel tired, feel like you need to take a nap every day, that's not normal, okay? And it's very likely that you are insulin resistant. If your eyesight is being affected and you feel like that it's more than just age, if your eyesight gets worse during the day, that's a good indication, like night blindness, if you're ever noticing this, good indication that you are insulin resistant. If you feel like that your stomach grows during the day and you don't know why, you could be insulin resistant, okay? If you need to urinate a lot during the night, if you're waking up at night and you don't know what that's all about, that's a good indication that you're insulin resistant. So let me see here. Looking at my notes, so if you crave sugar and carbs, very, very, it's a red flag, it's a sign. We really shouldn't crave sugar. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some tips too here on this video. Okay, so one of the reasons why we are constantly looking for energy, and this country in particular has a love for coffee, is because we don't have the right nutrients in our body because of the foods that we're eating that are nutrient deficient, nutrient absent rather, and that is because our farmers are not necessarily doing what they should to the land. So the land, okay, are depleted of nutrients. Farmers are not going to like me saying that. Not all farmers, but basically the soil is nutrient deficient, so therefore our foods lack nutrients. So you really need to get electrolytes and minerals in your body, because that is why you're needing, one of the reasons why you're always needing energy, why you're always needing carbs or feeling like you do, Okay, you really don't. What you many times need are these minerals. So I'm going to teach you some easy and quick ways to make sure you're getting minerals. Pink Himalayan sea salt. You take a pinch of that, put it on your foods. Pink Himalayan sea salt has the elements potassium, sodium, magnesium. Am I forgetting? I'm forgetting several others. It's got a lot of the minerals that our body needs, okay, to function properly. And if it's very likely, if you're not going for organic foods and searching these things out, then you are very likely nutrient deficient and need minerals to feel better. When you are lacking minerals, you're not going to feel good. Okay, so easy way is to put this on your foods. Okay, it's full of vitamins. You could also take a pinch of it. This is a trick. Take a pinch of it, put it underneath your tongue a couple times a day, and you're going to notice that it actually cuts your cravings. You'll notice it right away. And it's, you know, salt under the tongue. It might sound too salty. Try it a couple times. It's not bad at all. It's actually very good. I like it. Okay, another way to get more minerals in your diet is to use mineral water. Okay, this is a good brand. It's got some of the minerals that I just suggested. So if you're drinking a lot of water, which they tell you to drink 3 liters, a gallon of water a day. Here's the thing. Water is not all the same. It's just not. So if you're getting tap water, please don't ever do that because of all the crap in it, especially chlorine. But if you are drinking reverse osmosis, if you're drinking filtered water, like most of us are, that are health conscious, that's good, but you also have to you've got to understand that you're actually peeing out minerals, right? You're flushing out minerals that you need. So a good way to put them back in your body is to have some of the water that you drink during the day be a mineral water, okay? I hope that helped. I hope all that helped. I'm gonna start doing more videos because intermittent fasting, eating keto, but conscious keto, or keto that doesn't involve like huge amounts of protein, will help you burn fat. It really will. And I'm gonna start sharing a lot more tips to shrink in size. Yes, you will lose weight. Okay, so once I started doing this, I started losing weight fast. But before I had never been, so a little about me, I had never really had a weight problem, ever. I was very active too, until about 5-6 years ago. And I started noticing it, and then when I would go to get help, I noticed that I was becoming more and more confused by the information I was taking in. And for anybody that knows me, they know I'm like a bloodhound when it comes to research and trying to figure things out. So I did my own research. I'd gone to a weight loss clinic, and keep in mind, years ago, 15 years ago, 12, 15 years ago, I was actually working in the weight loss industry and worked directly with dietitians and worked directly counseling. I counseled people with nutrition, and even what I was learning was clashing with what the dietitians would tell me. And here's the thing. Many times advice is coming from a place of trying to sell you a product, right? And the truth is, some of what we really need to know, like the important stuff, is what I just shared in this video. You gotta understand insulin. And here's the thing. Keeping your insulin down doesn't just help burn fat. It does a lot of good in a lot of ways, in other ways. It's going to it's linked to, so reducing insulin is linked to cancer prevention. They're doing a lot more research. They've done a lot of research. Doctors don't want to necessarily agree with it all. I don't know why. Yeah, I do. I actually know why. But here's the thing. There's enough research out there to point that insulin prevents cancer. It actually, sugar feeds cancer. The lack of sugar and insulin helps prevent cancer. It can actually reverse type 2 diabetes, okay? There is enough research out there that it is profound, okay? So you're gonna feel better, you're gonna look better. Like, for instance, intermittent fasting boosts HGH, and that is going to help as you shrink your skin snap back. Okay, so I recently noticed a friend of mine that had lost a significant amount. I think he said 30, 40 pounds. And I noticed he looked a lot older. that doesn't have to happen. So if you're looking to lose a significant amount of weight, 30, 40, 50 or more pounds, you can actually incorporate intermittent fasting to help boost your HGH levels, human growth hormone, that actually, which is kind of funny, right? Human growth hormone to shrink. But what it does is it actually helps boost collagen and then helps your skin look better too as you're shrinking, okay? So I hope this all helped. If you are interested in learning more, there's a link below this video. I have a program, 8-week program, and then I have private coaching and counseling that I'm going to start working with people I actually already am. So I have a client, for instance, that's looking to lose 100 pounds. He actually has a higher goal, but we're going to start at 80 to 100 pounds, and we're going to get him there. And his story is it's a very long, frustrating story with what he has tried, the help that he's tried to get that resulted in nothing. And so I can't wait to have him. He's already incorporating some of what I'm telling him and starting to feel better, okay? So if you would like to learn more, click the link to learn more. And January 1st is right around the corner. That's when everybody wants to get on board, right, with their health. I say start now, okay? So click the link and learn more from me. I'm going to share all kinds of tips like this to get your insulin down, get you in fat burning mode, because you can actually do this fairly fast. My weight loss was really slow and hard and difficult, and until I started doing fasting, intermittent fasting, and keeping my insulin down, and the weight just came off. So I, within the last few months, have lost almost 45 pounds. Okay, and I'm down 4 sizes, okay, by doing this, and I feel so much better, okay? The hormone insulin is dictating your fat loss, okay? It really is. So keep it down and lose weight.